Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
The Guru back again for UFC Vegas 98. We've got a flyweight main event. Brandon Raw Dog Royval taking on Tatsuro Taira. I am happy. Man, give this guy a cheeseburger. Man, he wins this fight. Give him his damn title shot. That's what I say. But before we can get into it, we have a birthday boy in the house. Happy birthday to our very favorite TB Scouting MMA. He is 600 million years old today. I know he acts like he's only 599 million years old, but he is in fact 600 million years old. So we give Grandpa a very happy birthday. He does everything for us behind the scenes and quite frankly on camera as well. So give it up for our man.
Oh man, dude, appreciate you. Appreciate everybody out here joining us. Looking to have a fun time tonight. Celebrate the birthday. Phantom, what's going on, man? Appreciate you joining the show today. Hell yeah. Gotta get a little, if you got something, cheers to all you guys, because I love coming on, breaking down the fights with everybody. Shout out to my amazing girlfriend. Just had an awesome dinner in town. Great time. But now here we are. Let's break down these damn fights, man, because it's the Guru special. It's everybody's favorite. It's the title contender eliminator, and I can't believe that he didn't do it.
Because, you know why? Because,
you're right.
Well, because you know what it was? I tried to have the conversation with you earlier in the week, and you're like, oh, well, there's still Kaya Sakura, and there's Kai Kara France, and, you know, like, is he really getting a title shot? I honestly think if he finishes Brandon Royval, they're going to book it.
Yep, and you make a really good point. I think it's all about the performance in this matchup. If he pulls an Amir Albazi, like in that, like aforementioned Kai Kara France, won't be pretty. But hey, guys, yeah, we're a little later than 8 p.m. today, but appreciate you all. Hell yeah, we're here to have a good time. And no guests tonight. Had to be a little more flexible on time and wanted to celebrate the birthday appropriately. Had an awesome time, and here we are. This is like the classic vibes, the way we started. Chronic Combat, the two boys. You're having some fun breaking down some fights. So who better than Raw Dog, Brandon Royval, and in and out, Mr. Cheeseburger himself, Tatsuro Taira. I am happy. Thank you. We have an absolute banger of a main event for an Apex card for my birthday weekend. I mean, flyweight fight, two extremely exciting finishing prospects. And Royval, I mean, this guy's only been improving in his most recent matchups. Like, he's someone that would cave to adversity, get injured in fights, get finished. We've seen him go the full 5 rounds against two absolute dogs themselves in Pantoja and Moreno, avenging some finished losses that he had previously to kind of show he had some mettle to make it the distance. So in this matchup here against Mr. In and Out, Mr. Cheeseburger himself, Tatsuro Taira, man, I'm having a really tough time because the line is just getting to absolutely inappropriate territory. But I still think that Taira is going to win the fight here. It's just if getting him in the minus 170 to 190 range earlier, you know, before the week really started here was probably the move if you could do it. At this point, the question is, does Royval find a way to make it the distance or make it difficult enough for Taira to find a decision or a finish on his own end? I think Royval probably is going to be a bit better of the striker, but these grappling exchanges could be crazy. Guru, I'm curious. I don't think I really have a flag planting take on this fight. Besides, I'm really looking forward to it. I don't think I'll have a bet here at the price, but is there anything that's catching your eye from a prop or overall perspective?
There really is something catching my eye from a prop and overall perspective, and I'm not sure why you weren't touching on it, my friend. What about this under? Like, can we? Oh my God, my cat just opened the door.
Nice.
Like this under is really interesting because all of a sudden, you know, somebody in Brandon Royval went from a car crash type of fighter to now he's back to like decisionating flyweights. Like I'm not really sure why. Like, okay, so he didn't finish Brandon Moreno, who's never been finished, and he didn't finish Pantoja, who's never been finished. And
Mm,
now, again, I guess to everybody's to that point, I don't think he's finishing Tatsuro Taira in a guy that's never even lost, let alone never been finished. However, if he were to win, I do think that he's gonna need a finish, right?
right.
He's not gonna be able to win. I don't think he's gonna. Honestly, I don't think he's the better striker here. Like I think that's maybe
No.
the biggest thing. Like I
Huh.
don't think he's gonna be the better striker. They both have suspect defense, and he can't rely on his grappling. So I
Mm.
really think that Tatsuro Taira finds a finish before we hit championship rounds. So give me under 3.5 on FanDuel. It's plus money. It's plus 102. So give me under 3.5 plus 102.
Yeah, I'm having a tough time on it because I feel like, Pantoja with the back takes he was able to get in their second fight, and that's the similar type of thing that Taira is going to do in grapevining, taking the back, sinking in the body triangle. It's just once Pantoja got there a couple times in the second fight, he wasn't able to find the finish like he was in the first one. Same thing in the Moreno fight, he's kind of defending that back take sequence and his shoulder pops out and, it's a TKO victory.
Is Taira
But
like I probably should know this, right? But like,
okay.
is there anything about Taira that's like longer or different? Like, so like I'm looking at Taira, he's a 70-inch reach.
Yeah.
Like, is that longer than Pantoja's? Because
Yeah, so I think
that could be so that's problematic.
Okay. All right. And also Titus huge. Like he is
that's
absolutely and Brendan Royval, he's very tall. He's got a big head and little arms. Like he doesn't have the biggest of reaches. So Taira actually comes in with a 2-inch reach advantage. And even though he's a little bit shorter, I think he's got look at the pictures there. Like look at the size of their frame. Like Taira, if he's landing takedowns, that's it, man. We're all over it. The body shape, we love it. But I think Taira, he should be able to find control in this matchup. Now, listen, Royval is a master of chaos. While he's not going to have the cleaner technical striking here, and he's not going to be better defensively, he is going to bring absolute chaos to this matchup. And even if you hurt him, he's going to come back up and do a spinning back elbow or a flying knee or a triangle or roll for an armbar or a leg lock. Like it's not just going to be straightforward scrambling or striking sequences in the pocket. So, man, if you got in on the early line movement, I'd like to give you a shout out. Maybe we can pull out the fun little degen parlay you have to throw each card. But yeah, I get it. If Royval's winning, like you said, it's probably going to be a finish. And we have seen Royval finish before. So, man, maybe there is a little credence to your under guru. We'll have to have some more heated discussions in that direction. But Taira will be the pick. The question is, how does he get it done? And I'm curious to see exactly how. Should be an amazing, fun fight. I'm just not sure if this is going to be one of the hammer spots for the card. So keep an eye out. We've got Maui Wowie, Brad Tavares from facing the Iron Turtle, Jungyong Park.
That's your nickname.
Yes, it is.
I don't hate it.
The Hawaiian native, right? The Hawaiian native. He lives in Vegas. He's probably enjoying a little Maui Wowie here and there, Going down to Honolulu just to get that Brad Tavares.
No.
All right. So, anyways, plus 164 on the Brad Tavares side, minus 198 for the Iron Turtle. Jungyong Park, he's a really fun fighter. I think we've seen guys have a ton of success trying to wrestle, trying to grapple, or when it turns into an absolute firefight, man, Hobo Cop will get you, especially when you think you got him. Now, yeah, Brad Tavares, Antoine, shout out. What's going on? Glad you got one live for the pod. And yeah, he did look pretty good against DDP. He goes to decision against him. He goes to decision against Israel Adesanya. But a guy like Edmund Shabazian's putting him to sleep within one round. So it's like, there's contrasting vibes happening. And Chris Weidman, man, shout out Brad Tavares for getting the win there. But, man, you got to think if he was at any real juice left and finishing capability, he had Chris Weidman's legs on a silver platter the whole fight and just kind of took his foot off the gas pedal. Now, Jungyong Park, he's not quite like an idol like that. He's not coming off a complete leg fracture. And I'm sure it'll be easier for Tavares to try to want to get in a war. But who's this guy finished? What?
Did you say idol?
Yeah, like Chris Weidman. He's
Brad Tavares is idolizing Chris Weidman. Why?
Well, I mean, he's certainly not idolizing the Iron Turtle unless it's for his dance moves.
Why not? They're the same. Like, what are we talking about?
Oh, Chris Weidman was a former UFC champion.
Oh
You know?
my God, he's
Oh my lord!
idolizing him.
All right. Well,
He's
anyways,
slobberating all over him.
here's my main point. I don't
Thank
think
you.
Tavares has good enough wrestling, or that's going to be part of his game plan to beat Park. That's one path to victory. The other path to victory is finishing Park. I don't think Tavares is going to be landing the more impactful shots, and I don't think he's going to have more output and better defense than Park. So I'm going to take Park here. I think he's going to land more efficiency with the jab. He's going to be on the front foot. He'll be the one landing clinch, even if he's not landing takedowns, because Tavares has amazing takedown defense. I think Park is going to have the control equity in this fight in the clinch. So give me Park here. Once again, minus 198. Is it something I'm really looking to get after? And then over 2.5, minus 298. By God. So it's like, is it a split decision? What do you got, Guru?
What I have is a couple questions. Where has Jung Young Park been? This fight was rebooked. Park pulled out, no?
Yeah. Well, okay. So he weighed in. He looked okay. And then he gets pulled out for medical reasons.
Great. So nothing good. And they didn't rebook it for the next week because they love doing that. They waited what? How many months? You're not letting me load Tapology on my computer. So he waits how many ever months to rebook this fight. Now you're playing 2-1 odds on a guy that I don't like. We're going to spin this in reverse, right? How is he taking down Brad Tavares? Right? Like, he's not. It's really difficult to take down Brad Tavares. So he's going to have to stand and bang with him. And if that doesn't work, or if he gets hurt, does something stupid, it could be a problem. He beat, it's just been a while, right? He beat Talulian, Holmes, Duraev. The Onder split decision is probably his worst. Like, it's like the debatable fight that he won, right? People want to argue that one, but then it's the Andre Muniz fight in reverse, right? He kind of loses that one, but I kind of thought he won. So it's just a really tough spot. I don't really envision either guy getting a finish, like, at all. So I kind of like the decision, and when that's gonna happen, I'm not really interested in laying over 2-1 on a guy that I don't see getting a finish. It's going to be really close. And we've seen that these judges are not watching the fights. They have all our money in the balance. So I get to your point. The stats definitely say Jung Young Park, he throws more. And that's basically one of the most important thing here. Who's going to throw more? Because you have to throw more to land more. They have similar accuracies. So that's actually the other thing. Jung Young Park's more accurate and he's throwing more. So basically, it's what you said. But I'm just not sure that 2-1 is where I want to be.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, at the end of the day, Jung Young Park by decision plus 140. It's not the worst, but it's the way that the book is projecting it to play out with the over 2.5 where it's listed and the money line where it's listed. It's just, is it going to be that sketchy split where they give Brad Tavares a 29-28 and Park a 30-27 on another scorecard? Right?
I mean, I guess listen, when you say it like that, like, could I live with a half unit on Jung Young Park by decision, and whatever happens, we live with it? Like, yeah, I could live with that, but that's it. Like, there's no parlays, like there's nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you have to be able to identify where there's any value to play on it if the price is appropriate, and if you feel like there's some sort of edge. And yeah, I feel like Park by decision here. Like, Tavares isn't easy to get out of there. While Park certainly could do it. I mean, he is a solid grappler, a solid wrestler. It's like we talked about, man. I just don't totally envision it. So I think, like we said, plus 140, I think that's a good enough price, especially that the over 2.5 is at minus 298. Park is nearly minus 200. I feel like that's a great decision price given, and that's DraftKings. So I know you're going to find a better line for us on FanDuel.
Yeah,
100%. So, anywho, it's looking like we're going to do Park by decision. If you friends out there want to take the split decision prop, because that's just how things are going these days, have fun. Dig into grandma's couch cushions, see what feels right. And we're moving on. We've got Chitty Chitty Bang Bang in Njokuani versus Jared the Night Train Gooden. They moved this up to the main card. It should be an explosive, banger of a distance striking match. Guru, what are you thinking here, man?
I'm already ready to fade that narrative. You see how you get me set up? Do you
Yep.
see? He just
Yes.
went to decision with Rise fucking McKee. Why is this fight not going the distance?
Well, so stylistically, Reese McKee was pushing in the clinch, going for takedowns unsuccessfully, and Njokuani ends up, in a boring matchup that he clearly lands. I mean, it's a split decision too. It's disgusting. So, I mean,
We were
Jared
there.
Gooden,
It was the worst fight ever.
it was terrible. It was terrible.
The whole
So,
night was brutal.
yeah, but like, oh, that's pretty sick. An Iron Turtle paperweight. That's amazing.
That's
I probably need to get that in. It might be the correct term because well, honestly, like Jared Gooden, he's not going into fight and pushing the clinch. Like he's going out to throw strikes with his hands down. Like he's got zero defense. He's gonna come into the pocket ready to brawl. And Chitty, while he's known to fade down the stretch and wilt a little bit, like, well, I mean, if he's not finding an early finish, then maybe we are cruising towards an over and Gooden, swinging it air.
That's
And
kind of
making
what I'm
it close to
saying.
the
It's
edge.
like okay, so Jared Gooden, he's been knocked out twice.
Okay.
One in
One by Bruno
2019.
Oliveira.
Right, Bruno Oliveira in 2019, and when was the other one? Long time ago.
I believe so. It wasn't anytime soon. Anytime recently for Jared.
So
Gooden
that's
being
kind of my thought. Like, I'll take again, same idea. Why not take a half unit stab on a over? Fight goes the distance, whatever, and just watch these guys kickbox in the fucking Apex for 15 minutes. Why the fuck is this fight on the main card?
Oh, it was Impa Kasanganai actually in 22. It was on the regional scene versus Impa at XMMA. So it was kind of recently.
What? When did he get knocked out? Oh, when he got knocked out?
Yeah, it was in 2022 versus Impa Kasanganai that he got knocked
Right,
out.
right. Okay, but how good is fucking Impa now?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you're probably right. This is probably the fade the narrative over the week.
Yeah, why not? We've
Yeah.
done it. We've done it 2 weeks in a row. We did it with Klein, and then who did we do it with last week?
Oh, with Cesar Almeida and Ihor Poteria. I don't see why not. I feel like there's a chance here, right? So you're telling me there's a chance that we hit the over?
Like again, like Chitty
yeah.
like it's Chitty KO is the narrative, and it's just like, why? What has he done? He didn't knock out Reese McKee. He finally took care of Mikhailo Lajachuk. Great job. Was he the only person? was he the only person to not finish Duraev?
Oh,
I mean,
God,
Jung Young Park subbed him. Joaquin Buckley knocked him out. But the cut. He got subbed on Contender Series. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know.
Good question. Fighters in mid-30s being in their primes. I think this is kind of Chitty's last stand to move down to welterweight again at 35. Post-USADA landscape. I'm sure there's a reason he's making it.
He made that cut before he did the USADA, though.
Yeah, but he also said that it took a toll on him and it like hurt his voice. Like he had like serious issues with speaking at one point from it. And could he sub him in late rounds? I mean, I guess, if Chitty's been known to kind of pack up shop and go home. So I don't see why not. Gooden's like a purple belt or so. And he's like functional. Like if he wasn't functional, Carlson Harris would have gotten him out of there is the way I see it. So, and Chitty's not going to go to offensively wrestle. He'll clinch, he'll elbow, he'll knee, but
it's like Wellington Turman is like the biggest fraud ever.
Yeah.
So it's like both of these guys, like, I mean, have just not done well in the UFC. But when you look at Jared Gooden, I mean, at least he's fought decent competition. Randy Brown, Carlston Harris, whatever, Alan Joban. Like, I mean, this guy's best fight is the Gregory Rodriguez fight where he's winning the first round and then quits like the biggest, whatever you ever want to see. And then who's he finished? Dusko Todorovic was an elbow. And the big finish versus Barriott, where he, makes his
another elbow
statement. Right, where he makes his huge statement. So
yeah, I feel like fight goes plus 150.
Yeah, I'm in.
Could be interesting. All right, sounds good to me. So small play, but I think we find interesting over props here. All right, we're moving on. We've got KGD King Grant Dawson versus gifted Rafa Garcia. He's not Brazilian, so we pronounce the R the American way. Sorry. Anyways, we've got Grant Dawson here, and you gotta imagine like Rafa Garcia. He's 3 inches shorter, giving up 2 inches of reach. And he's someone that typically needs wrestling on his own right to have success in a matchup. I see like a 5% chance that he can out wrestle Grant Dawson in this matchup. And Grant Dawson just has so much better jujitsu. Um, Dawson is way bigger, and he's not facing someone that I think is really a threat to knock him out on the feet. Bobby Green, his hands are low. You don't really see where they're coming from. And he catches them early and while he's coming in. So there's two things working against Dawson there. I just don't think Garcia is gifted in that way. Get it? But Grant Dawson, I think that there's potential for him to find a submission as the fight goes down the stretch. But Garcia's a tough dude. He hasn't necessarily shown that he's like willing to quit or anything like that. In fact, we saw him be the benefit of some like an illegal knee all of a sudden turning into a submission on his own end versus the one and only Jesse Ronson. And then, Grant Dawson, he's facing a guy in Garcia that's never been finished. 3 decision losses on Garcia's end, but let's see if Dawson is the one to show him what it's like. He's submitted guys that haven't lost by sub before, right? I think like Trezano for one. Jared Gordon, like he hadn't been subbed, right? Mark Madsen, they hadn't been subbed, and he subbed them. So I think that there is potential that we could see a submission on the side of Grant Dawson here. But the price plus 350 and decisions minus 160, it might be worth a quarter unit for a Grant Dawson submission sprinkle. I think that's basically my only analysis on the fight.
What I'm kind of thinking is that what I've kind of put together here is that this would be Rafa Garcia's eighth UFC fight, which generally they're 4-fight contracts. I've been wondering why hasn't he fought? He hasn't pulled out of any fights. Like there's nothing written on Tapology. My guess is like he was kind of holding out for a proper matchup, and this probably isn't the one. I'd imagine that if this is the last fight on his contract, that after this Grant Dawson loss, he'll no longer be in the UFC.
Wow.
It's just my thought, right? He loses to Jakar Close, and he's got a decision win over Guida and Mahashate. What are we doing with you, dude?
And he's not exciting.
Right. That's the point. Do we have room for you?
No.
So, right. So, yeah, I don't think so.
He helped out by taking a short notice matchup against Nasrat Hakbaras to make it into the big show. He impresses because he doesn't get finished, but he gets absolutely styled on from distance. And then he's gone to decision in every single matchup besides where he had an illegal strike lead to a finish against Ronson.
Yep. So they're probably going to be that's just my
meta-analysis.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, so of course.
I'm going to go with Grant Dawson by, what's round 3 decision? I'm pulling that up. That's kind of where I'm considering if we can get a decent line. Round 3 decision minus 180 is maybe the worst line I've ever seen. So yeah, I'm not stay away.
Okay.
And Grant Dawson by decision is not plus 140, it's minus 140.
Yeah, I said no. Grant Dawson's decision was minus 160 on. It was plus 140 for Chun Young Park that we talked about before.
Okay.
Yeah. Your video got a little questionable. Audio wasn't too bad, but I don't know if anything changed on your end. Just as a heads up. All right, fair enough. So, anywho, we're gonna move along here. We've got D-Rod Daniel Rodriguez versus Alex the Great White Morono. I promise he probably doesn't mean it in that way. I think he just really likes sharks. But I don't know. You look at him, there are questions to be had. Anyways, we've got Daniel Rodriguez here. He fresh off of a new contract, stepping up for that Kevin Gastelum fight. And I think that he's getting some sharks served on a nice silver platter here because Alex Morono has not looked good striking from distance in his last few matchups. And that's against guys like Court McGee and Tim Means. Like Tim Means, he ends up submitting him and he does, do well. But Tim Means always falls off a cliff. So I'm thinking like, how about the Nico Price loss? How about, Joaquin Buckley? Okay, that's not too bad. But Ponzinibbio, he's doing great early, slows down, gets finished. It's just, I don't think that he's going to be able to keep up with the striking pace, and he's never shown that he's going to offensively wrestle at a high rate. So I don't want the dog shot here. But minus 218 D-Rod for a guy that I know that's just going to want to box from distance. Okay, so I probably don't need to lay the chalk. And fight goes the distance, over 2.5, minus 195. All right, so they're probably on to how this goes. It's just the question is, can we get a knockout from Z-Rod at plus 240? I've seen crazier ideas, right? I think the price is okay enough to think about, but I'm not 100% sure I get there. If Morono was to win, it's probably by decision. Plus 275 is his most likely route. I don't think he's subbing him. I don't think he's knocking out D-Rod.
You already said it, man. You've already got the mental analysis built right in. He took that short notice fight versus Kelvin Gastelum, and I mean, what a fucking terrible fight from Kelvin that he wins. It just wasn't exciting. I think everybody liked D-Rod after that fight. I mean, everybody already likes D-Rod anyway. But yeah, you get a brand new shiny contract for doing that. They give him the ghost of Alex Morono. Morono's looked, increasingly old and fragile, and I just think he's picking up the last bit of his checks. He owns a gym, he's fine. So, I mean, give me the Daniel Rodriguez, Grant Dawson parlay of death, back-to-back fights. Why not?
Wow, that could be sketchy, but it could be just what we need on fight day to have some fun. So,
because the fight that precedes this is the one that's going to break our heart. I mean, hopefully not, but
all right. So let's see. Here we go. Oh man, we made it. It's time for some Judo Thunder. Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Mile High Josh Fremd. So there's a few factors in this matchup, and I can understand why the Al Hassan line is kind of stuck at minus 166. You have Josh Fremd, who's way younger. He's got a 3-inch reach advantage, and he's got a 6-inch height advantage. So on paper, that guy generally wins, like 2/3 of the time, right? You see the longer reach. And then you take into account kind of how their UFC careers have played out here. And while we've seen Fremd have some impressive results on the regional scene, I mean, his most impressive result in the UFC was a round 2 submission of Cedricus Dumas. And like, might I tell you, I mean, that was really not that impressive when you kind of put the context of Dumas's career up against that performance and kind of where he was at going into that fight. You go ahead and look at like, okay, he makes the great debut versus, one Fluffy Hernandez. And it's like, oh, wow, he fights him kind of close and survives. But at the end of the day, I think, we kind of overstayed a young guy in their debut off of like a quote unquote good loss. And Tresean Gore fight, I mean, that kind of just tips the scales for me of what can happen when things start to go wrong for Fremd. And when he can't handle the physicality, he can't handle the danger, and he's not the one dictating the terms of the fight, he just doesn't like how it goes. Like even Andre Petrosky was giving up a huge height and reach advantage, but anytime that Petrosky wanted to get that fight to the ground, he does. And it's simple for him to do it. And Al Hassan, he's not going to be shooting takedowns, but if this guy wants a judo toss for whatever reason to get to ground and pound like he was against Cody Brundage, he could do it. Al Hassan, if he wants to throw leg kicks against a taller guy and cut down the movement in the small cage, he can do it. He's going to be the way more explosive athlete. He's going to land with a ton more power. And the fact of the matter is that I think the cardio thing on Al Hassan's side is a bit overstated. Ever since he's moved to training in elevation and away from Fortis MMA, his last few fights, and especially since moving to 185 instead of killing himself to make 170, I think we've seen a whole new guy and kind of a rebirth, and he's been very emotional at these press conferences. I think he's getting the buddy of Cody Brundage on a silver platter after the bullshit no contest where Brundage is probably going to get cut. Factory X is no longer a real gym or anything like that. So I don't know what's happening on the Frem side of things from that regard. And they're both training at elevation. I don't think Al Hassan's cardio is an issue. And Frem, he doesn't do anything. So how exactly does he win this fight? By setting a pace, by wrestling, by weathering the storm and survive? Like, it's Al Hassan all day. So Guru, do you have anything to clean up there?
Woof.
I'm sorry I did it, buddy. I'm sorry.
It's your birthday. You can have your cake and eat it too if you want to.
Fair enough.
Honestly, like when you really did touch on it all. I mean, just look at Frem's fights, man. He gets laid on by Andre Petroski. Whatever. He gets knocked the fuck out by the better kickboxer in Kompolov. Whatever. He goes to decision versus Jamie Pickett. He chokes out Sajikas Dumas. That's the fight that they need to book. Why not make that rematch? That's hilarious. He loses to Trajan Gore in the most hilarious fashion of all time. I don't even know if Trajan Gore even fought. Where is that? That dude like constantly injured.
Yeah, I don't know where he's at.
Mr. Vicious is hilarious. He actually has not fought since that fight. Oh yeah, he's gonna fight in November versus Antonio Tricali. Hilarious.
Oh my god, amazing!
The dude that just tried to beat up his wife's former husband. It's just
Jesus
great shit.
Christ.
It's just great shit. Losing to Fluffy Hernandez, whatever. Yeah, there's just nothing really there. To me, I thought they'd be giving, Razak Al-Hassan an even easier matchup, but at the same time, it's like, how many easier matchups are there? You look at his losses.
Yeah.
Joe Pyfer, understandable. Joaquin Buckley, really understandable, and it's a split decision. A lot of people thought, Al-Hassan may have won it. I'm not one of them, but whatever. Malkoun fight, at least that was like, at least he shows himself a little bit better than somebody like Frem did versus Petroski. And we already saw what Malkoun did to Petroski, so it's like, come on, man. Levels to this shit. Give me a Razak.
Judo Thunder, best bet, 3 units. Whammy. Let's get after it. I think it's going to be a good bet. All right, we're moving on. Thank you so much, everyone live here in the chat. Please give TB a birthday present. Subscribe to the channel. Throw a like on the video if you haven't already. It would be so fucked up if you guys were in here watching this show on my birthday and not throwing a like. I would be pretty sad, but it's not too late to do the right thing. I will be checking to see. Come on, guys, help us out. And listen, we appreciate everyone out there, our faithful members of the channel. For $3 a month, you can get absolutely no extra value besides just supporting us and all the fun things we do. But we would never actually make anybody pay for any of our content. It would just be if you guys felt like you wanted to do anything out of the kindness of your hearts, that's always up to you. But we're here to have an absolutely great time. Best bets, best guests, except for tonight. We're here for a birthday special and always free picks. So here we go. We've got the Matador, CJ Vergara, ready to run around the octagon against Timurlan Ramazan Temirov. Oh, boy.
Timur.
Yeah. I'm glad you saw where you're going for that. That's pretty good. Temirov. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting fight. Temirov, he loves getting an absolute throwdown, boxing, striking matches in the center of the octagon. Swang and bang. Let's see who's going down. I've seen him hurt, dropped a couple times, but he's pretty solid. He perseveres. He's got some powerful striking. I've even seen him kind of run around the octagon a little bit, avoiding some action, CJ Vergara style. Shout out to the Daniel Lacerda de Silva fight. That was one for a lifetime, just sprinting around the octagon, Mr. CJ Vergara. So the question here is, if this fight starts playing out late over the distance, can Vergara, who's shown survivability and the willingness to throw volume over the distance, is Temirov, built for that? And I think he probably is. It's just at minus 360, and then the over 2.5 is minus 188. Like, what are we like? Is it going the distance here, or is CJ Vergara going to miss weight and again and lose to a guy that might have?
He's just really tough. So I'm just not sure Temirov is going to submit him. So I guess he nearly gets knocked out. Who was the guy chasing and then he ends up finishing? Was that Lacerda?
Yeah.
That's really funny. So, I mean, Tamarov might just put him down if he's in that situation again. So that would be kind of interesting. I felt like Tamarov is actually fairly talented. I really did come into it wanting to fade him. He's a fast, flashy striker. He's got a lot of spinning kicks. He's very comfortable on the feet. Problem is like you said, TB, he's got, of his 11 finish wins, they're all in round one, 6 decisions. It's some questionable people he's fighting, even in Ryzen. So not fully sold either. It'll be very interesting to see what he looks like, but he looks sharp, technical, and in very good shape. Dude, those Uzbek fighters are good, man. So
The boxing's
yeah.
legit.
Yeah, I'm going with Temerov. What you do, I think again, like we've said before, if you want to fade this narrative, you take him by finish and you take him to finally do this.
Yeah, I mean, Vergara, he has 2 submission losses in his career. Tamarov, he's got all round 1 finishes. So, we've seen Vergara hurt before. It's just De Silva couldn't capitalize, but he had that dude legit with his back turned running away. So that was pretty hilarious. Anyways, here we go. We're moving on. We'll take Tamarov and potentially an inside the distance shot because that's the only thing that makes sense. If not, then you have to be on the dog, right? Just in principle. But I don't think I quite get there. JSP, Jonathan Pierce versus Pat in the Hat Sabatini.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
That's
That was the
so
last
bad.
second one. Yeah, it was pretty bad. So Pat in the Hat fighting JSP, whose nickname is worse. JSP is pretty terrible too.
I'm just kind of used to it at this point.
Yeah, I get it. But JSP comes in. He's going to have a 4-inch height advantage, 1-inch reach advantage, and a pretty big chin advantage for my estimation. While he has been knocked out and submitted before, Pat Sabatini's chin is it's not something to write home about. However, we've seen JSP submitted way too many times, and also in fights where he doesn't get submitted, that dude is in deep in someone's guillotine like every fight. So when mine was like close to even money, minus 130, I was like maybe slightly interested. I look into it a little bit, and if Pierce isn't knocking out Sabatini, then it could get a little sketchy from a scramble and submission perspective.
I'm serious. I'm on Pat. Like it's Pat or pass. It's Pat or pass. It really is.
Pass.
It's Pat or pass. Like I'm not sure that I really have to decide who I'm gonna end up actually circling. I really might end up picking Pat because I think on the feet, what is Pierce gonna do? Like it's death by cuts with Pierce, and with Pat Sabatini, yeah, he'll swing big, and when they both try to wrestle, like JSP cannot maintain any top control at all. Like it's just country boy wrestling. Pat has fantastic top control. What happens when Pat gets on top of this string bean? They're both going to be the same height on the ground. So what the fuck? Why can't Pat just lay on top of this dude, or even submit him?
It's a good question.
So at plus 154, like I just don't get it. Like why is JSP's that great of a grappler? He's he's knocking him out. He has to knock him out.
Yeah, I don't think he is doing that.
Wait, I mean, who has he knocked out? He didn't knock out Darren Elkins. He knocks out Amir Khani, who quits.
That's the worry is Sabatini's chin that bad, or did he get front kick to the face by a guy who, I mean, very sad. Like Damon Jackson lost his brother that week and was just not going to lose that fight. That's his
right.
Fight. And then Diego Lopez in the clinch. You don't fuck with that guy.
Diego Lopez is your, title contender.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel you, man. Listen, it's pat or pass. I feel you on that. I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's see. Do you guys think Jonathan still has the potential to achieve something in the featherweight division? I do. I mean, I think he has the potential. It's just he's going to have to go on a run, and he's going to have to start finishing a few more fights.
And yeah, and what kind of potential? Like you mean like top 15 potential? Like I'm not exactly sold on that.
Yeah, I don't think he's really. I mean, he's all right. I think he's got solid talent. I just don't think he's really over top 10. All right. Themba, the answer, Garimbo versus Nico, the hybrid price. I feel like whatever the question is, if Themba Garimbo is the answer at minus 380, you're probably asking the wrong questions. But oh man, we're in the Nico Price hybrid experience here, man. It's he's old. I mean, he's really not that much older than Themba, but from a fight years perspective and damage accrued perspective, I mean, by God, this guy's 8-7 with one no contest in the UFC, but the type of damage he's taken is almost like double that. Um, and then Themba here, it just seems like he's made some physical improvements to his wrestling and cardio. Yeah, exactly. There you go. He met up with The Rock. The Rock's totally natural, so I'm sure he's all clean right now. But it's similar to the Ramiz Brahimaj matchup. He's getting someone at the absolute worst of, like their form. Like this is the worst Nico hybrid price you're ever going to find. And even Alex
Yeah,
Morono couldn't handle it. I think
Nico
Themba
Price is
can.
gonna get wrestle fucked. Like, why not? Just because
Yeah.
why? Just because he fought Cowboy Oliveira, Phil Rowe, Robbie Lawler, and Alex Morono, who didn't want to grapple. Now he's not gonna get grappled. Like Nico Price had to resort to grappling versus Alex Morono in the last fight to get that done. Like when you look at the Michelle Pereira fight, Michelle takes him down 3 times. So I don't see why that can't happen here. Jeff Neal takes him down twice. So give me
Yeah, I
Themba.
feel like they have no idea what happens based on the lines. Like Themba decision plus 165, knockout plus 180, over 2.5 minus 120, under 2.5 minus 110. They have no idea. I think his fight goes. I think Themba wins by decision again. If he's not getting Ramiz Brahimaj out of there, this isn't Pistol Pete.
Well,
I think
let's slow it down quickly though. Right?
okay.
Let's just if for some reason he's struggling to get him down to the mat, is it possible on feet it would look really bad?
I mean, sure. I mean, Nico still hits hard. It's just I don't think he can really take a hit. So I mean, if
True.
anyone, like, I'm sure he could chin Themba. It's just Themba's probably. I mean, even if he can't get the takedown, like he's probably just going to be in the clinch and just like doing whatever he wants with it. I feel like if there was disappointment in this fight, it's that he doesn't find the finish and he's boring once again. The only exciting fight that he's had was when he loses to Fletcher in his first fight when he's sick and gasses out and gets subbed. And then when he knocks out Pete Rodriguez because they made Pete fight up a weight class against someone comically larger and more athletic than him. Themba, against Nico, they kind of match up from a height and reach perspective. Like there's no significant advantage there. I just think that Nico's not physically built to deal with this type of athleticism because it's no knees Nico. And he's a guy that's getting like knocked out by Phil Rowe, even though it's late, even though it's like scheduled, like, come
No,
on, man. Like, that's pretty good, Rem Dog. I
no
like
knees
that.
Nico.
If he didn't have a nickname,
No
that
knees
would
Nico.
be the replacement. I like that. And yeah, he is washed, but it is a crazy line. So, I mean, you're going to need to decide what to do. And the answer, shout out to Themba Garimbo, might be to pass. So, we'll see. Oh, man. We've got Psycho, Julia Palastri versus Corey Poppins McKenna. Um, does a spoonful of sugar make the medicine go down on the dog play here?
Yeah, you got to take the dog here. I don't understand it exactly. Pilastri's had what, one UFC fight? McKenna at least has some experience. McKenna is usually unbelievably small compared to her opponents, while, of course, her little T Rex arms will still leave her at a disadvantage with the reach. She's used to that. She's actually a little bit taller. Yeah, I lean McKenna by crazy boring split decision, but I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think that she has all the control time upside. It's just, do we trust her to fight with a clean game plan? And we saw Palastri like versus Knudsen. She's the one that's getting these crazy top control sequences before ending up getting reversed or losing the striking battle from distance. But that fight was way closer than it ever needed to be for Knudsen. Like that was so sketchy. Pilastri, I'm just not impressed what happens when she gets taken down and she's not the one that has the grappling advantage, which McKenna should, like, this is not Jacqueline Amorim from a grappling perspective. Like,
Correct.
You can go ahead and wrestle her here, McKenna. It's okay. In that fight, though, Amorim jumps guard and doesn't give McKenna a choice from watching it back. And McKenna, I mean, like, that's just an absolutely ridiculous grappler that's willing to do anything to cheat to get a victory, too. Just ask Vanessa Demopoulos. But, yeah, I mean, Amorim, way more impressive of a fighter and a grappler than Pilastri, who does not have a 10-inch reach advantage. Like, 5 inches is something that McKenna is least, like, used to dealing with. Oh, my God, that sounds terrible. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to have to go with the dog shot here. What do you got? Guru, you agree, right?
I already said that.
Beautiful. I love it. So
I got a unit on McKenna.
Hey, you just did that now?
No, I did it a little while ago.
What the fuck, bro? Damn.
Well, I did it at 8:44. I did it an hour and a half ago.
Oh, okay, that's solid. What line did you take?
112 on FanDuel.
Nice. That was the best one, or the best cash out?
Best I saw.
Ooh, that doesn't mean it was the best line. Look out, fans. Guru is always.
I mean, I did my. I was pretty sure it was the best line. It was the best I saw.
All right. Well, fair enough. Hopefully, you guys are getting the best line too. Yeah, I don't want to think of a live entry on Pilastri. Yeah, I mean, I get it. McKenna, tough to trust with the game plan, but she's not like a big favorite here, which I think like with their wrestling, she could.
Anybody that's willing to not stick a flag before fight and willing to see where it goes live is a much better gambler in my opinion. Just like you're like, you know what I mean? Who needs to prove something all the time?
Oh my God!
Really, Daz?
Wow, Daz getting after it. Yeah, we'll see. I haven't touched it yet. I'm gonna consider things.
Oh, you like touching it?
Oh boy, talk about touching. We've got Junior, the Juggernaut Tafa, Sean, the Smoke Sharaf. I mean, my God, Love Handle Scouting MMA reporting from the field here. I mean, look at the love handles both of these boys are bringing to the table in the heavyweight division here. This is a matchup of epic proportions, one that was written in the tea leaves for centuries to come. This should just be an absolute slobber knocker. I don't imagine, like, I know Junior Tafa is not going to shoot, but I'm like kind of looking sideways at Sean Schroff and being like, well, he's out of Extreme Couture. And I know he's only really been like striking in his 4 wins in his career. But just what if, what if he does the right thing here and goes for a takedown on top of, like, what does that look like? At plus 260 and the line keeps sliding wider, I'm going to wait. I'm going to continue to wait. But I'm extremely interested to find out, because if he's any more athletic than Parker Porter, who was a fence grab away from getting his own takedown, I mean, we could be in store for the most funniest heavyweight underdog we've seen in a long time. The most funniest. It's going to be incredible.
So I'm
a linguist.
I certainly lean Junior Tafa, but unless Sharaf really just can't fight or sucks really bad, like, I'm just not sure. Junior Tafa gets his legs kicked the fuck out of by DeLima on short notice, and he gets choked out by Walter Walker at the buzzer. Oh, not choked out. His heel got smashed. That was even funnier. It was a heel hook. Obviously, that's not a threat in this fight at all. The Smoke has 4 fights and 4 round 1 KOs. And I don't know. It could certainly still happen here, but it'd be way funnier for it not to. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if you want to take Sharaf round 1, go for it. Otherwise, Tafa probably either gets it done round 1 or round 2. But you could probably get Fight Dust and start round 3 and sprinkle it around. I don't think that there's really any way.
All right. Fair enough. That's probably a fun way to do it, but lines still haven't fully opened on the fight. Such short notice, gonna be sketchy. Probably should pass.
Definitely should pass.
Looking forward to face-offs just to see what it looks like.
Now we've got a back-to-back Dana White Contender Series fights, in my opinion.
Yeah, here we go. It's Dan the Determined Argueta versus Cody Hats Off Haddon.
No. No, that's the
Like hat
worst.
on, hats
No,
off.
fuck. Like, fuck. I don't care it's your birthday. Fuck you. That may be the worst nickname you've come up with in this year.
Hats off to Cody. He had a great finish on Contender Series.
Yeah, but he fought a little boy.
No, come on, everyone.
Like-
there were people taking the dog there, man.
Me, I was taking the dog, but I'm not good at like picking fights.
Come on now.
I took a dog shot, but I mean, Cody Haddon is way better. He's way more well-rounded. Cody Haddon has he's a 3-time junior national amateur boxing champion. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He fought with him first second. Now he trains with him. Dan Argueta is just somebody who succumbs to damage fairly quickly. Like his cardio gets really depleted when he eats a lot of damage. He doesn't have great cardio to begin with. He doesn't have, I mean, his striking has gotten a little bit better, but there still really isn't any power behind it. Like there's no reason to fear a Dan Argueta fucking knockout here. So I just don't see it. I feel like this could be a very similar fight to Dan's last fight where he starts to look good at first with some success wrestling, but Cody Haddon is just going to put it on him and start damaging him. So I do see Cody getting it done maybe round 2 or round 3. But again, I'm not like super anxious to lay chalk on a guy making his debut off like Contender Series against a guy that's probably fighting for his contract and has way more experience, at least in the UFC.
Shout out Uncle Lou. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for making it tonight.
Good to see you, Lou.
Hell yeah. Missing you in the Friday night happy hour, Thursday night and Friday morning happy hour. Really,
I thought you did Fear Factor.
All your content
with Joe Rogan.
Fight Factor. Yeah, Fear Factor with Joe Rogan. It's funny because Dogfather does have the bald look going on. So, all right. Anywho, so funny, but yeah, I think what you brought up, Guru, and what keeps me from betting this fight ahead of time at -175 is that Argueta is going to be shooting takedowns immediately and potentially landing 1 or 2 of them before Haddon gets a get up. And I think
we might get entry on Cody.
Yes, exactly. So, let's see if we can snag one. And I think that the submission is also going to be super live, given his grappling capabilities and the fact that Argueta is going to be constantly shooting takedowns. And we saw a guy like Matsumoto take advantage when he keeps on shooting. So why not here? Why not now? Finally, we've got Clayton, the Carpenter, Nazareth, Mr. Jesus himself, the Carpenter, versus Lucas Phenomenal Rocha.
See, like that one is a little bit better, except he has a nickname. His nickname is Concrete.
No way, that's terrible. He's Triple C?
Clayton Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Clayton Concrete Carpenter.
I thought it was funny that he was the Carpenter.
Nazareth, and see, like Nazareth is at least funny. I was like, what does that mean? He's like a big Jesus guy. Like Jesus was a carpenter. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. That was my thought here.
Yeah,
I'd like to say shout out Jesus for me having a winning event last time out.
Yeah. First and foremost, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior. I don't know what it takes to get into an octagon or hit a ball really far, but I love when somebody does something successful in sports and the first thing they do is thank Jesus. Like, do you not think your teammate was also, your opponent was also praying to Jesus too? Like,
Jesus didn't want them to win, so he chose the
right. I don't know.
All right. Anywho,
sorry if anybody that likes Jesus.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I like Jesus too. He was a good guy.
I love Jesus.
He's one of us.
I love you, Jesus. I want you inside.
All right, so
go watch that episode of South Park.
So classic. All right, well, here we are. We've got Mr. Concrete, Triple C himself, Carpenter.
All right, I got this one. Yeah, Concrete here. He's got a 3-inch height advantage. He's got a 4-inch reach advantage. He's 4 years older, but like to the point, like Rocha's only 24 years old. He's just young.
Yeah.
I was kind of like wanted to look his way because he's taking some time after Dana White Contender Series. There's similar levels of experience in terms of not that many UFC fights at all. Obviously, with just Dana White Contender Series fight. But the problem is even though he has more MMA experience, I don't see it. Like I've watched him get shmammied in 2 different fights, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he gets the freak knee knockout win, and I'm like, where is this dude getting this from? Like, what else can he even do? And I mean, he's got decent striking, but I just feel like as long as he makes it a mixed martial arts fight, he should be fine. I like Clayton to get the submission, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, he's a back takeaway from a body triangle. And Hosha, while he does okay to like stuff initial takedowns or try to like fight back to his feet, he just constantly turtles, gives up his back, and I don't think that's going to go well against a guy with a legit back take and body triangle. And if he can't find the sub and he's just winning a dominant decision, it's probably Clayton Carpenter here. Like, I see the ways that Hosha could win, but it's all by finish. And it's all by, like, explosive, like, oh, my goodness. And Carpenter's never been finished. That doesn't mean he can't be. And he's only fought in, Tony Montana himself, Juan Camilo Ronderos in the UFC. But I think ultimately Carpenter should get the victory here. While the line doesn't make it, tasteful, he is the pick. Thank you so much, guys. Coming here, celebrating the birthday, having a great time with the people in the chat, as always. Should be a fun card. I think we have some like matchups that could produce some fireworks and excitement. Maybe not the biggest names, maybe not the biggest stakes, but main event should be sick, and we'll be chilling. We'll be watching the fights, getting some live.
We want big names, big stakes, big money. Money Moicano.
Big money. So, hey, let's keep it rolling. Having a nice month so far. Would love to keep that action going. Have the big max bet out on Al Hassan already. Still very tailable. Line's still playable. You can even do whatever you like from a finish or not perspective, but we're just doing the money line, and let's see what else we end up with here. I think it's going to be an exciting card. Guru, take it away.
Listen, TB, happy fucking birthday, you little piece of shit. Hopefully this year you can come up with some better nicknames. I hope your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ grants you that power. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Hey, great Apex card, and we'll get this done under an hour. Gotta love that. Make sure you're following my co-host T Scouting MMA over on Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, Picket, and Tapology. And you can follow me, the Guru Scouting MMA, over on Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, Picket, and Tapology. You will see us back next week with I gotta be honest, dude. Who the fuck is next week?
Oh shit.
Give me a second.
Oh, is it her Fluffy and Michelle?
No, it is Fluffy, and it is Michelle and Fluffy.
My fitness consigliere, Michelle.
Michelle. And then we got MSG.
Dang.
Well,
no, it isn't.
Thanksgiving, then MSG.
What?
No, not Thanksgiving.
Dog,
no,
it's
not
October.
MSG.
It's not November.
Abu Dhabi. I really need sleep. I need sleep.
Yeah. Hey man, let's do it then, right?
Let's go to sleep. Goodbye.
We'll just get out of there.